I got asked what I was bad at. It was quite funny. So I actually just got off the call, and so I try and help people in whatever way. I mean, my marketing agency doesn't deal with startups, doesn't deal with, and the consulting agency doesn't either. So, but because I had a mentor when I was younger, I kind of put that out there a lot, and and I'll spend time. And I had the question seriously. I really should have got his permission to just use his name, but we kind of spoke for about 5 minutes, and he paused, and I've never had this asked from me, not once. He said, Steve, he said, what are you really bad at? And it completely floored me. So I'm making this video because although I told him what I was bad at, I kind of want to enter the confession stage and say what I'm bad at. And it isn't just one thing. And the reason I'm doing this is I want to explain what I'm bad at, how I'm trying to figure out to fix it. And I'm really hoping that people in the comments will actually say what they're bad at and how they're trying to do to fix it. Because we tend to, as business owners, and founders and entrepreneurs and however you want to tag us, we tend to always sort of come over as, we've got all the answers and we can figure everything out and whatever. So what are you bad at? Okay, so my number one thing I'm bad at, and I think is at a completely skill set level, would actually be writing, spelling, grammar. I'm terrible at it. I mean, really the world's worst. And I need to have a big shout out to my chief content officer, Jade, who honestly, I am so pleased that she literally goes behind me and sweeps up my god-awful mess of spelling and so forth. And I normally get a message from her with a little lol going, I just fixed your comment. And I don't even know what she fixed, but apparently, and it was funny because I was actually on the road a few days back, and I was replying to stuff while I was on the road and not driving, obviously. And apparently I said something that was like really bad. So anyway, I'll blame autocorrect. So definitely that. Here's what I do to fix it. So I did the Grammarly route, and I got the little app, and it's like whatever it is, it's like 30-40 bucks a month or whatever. I did that, and which is actually, it's a great app, by the way, to try and fix my problem. The result, it was still terrible, because at the end of the day, Grammarly doesn't actually know what you're trying to say, it just makes guesses. So when I flip through, and I tend to spell words wrong consistently, but a spell checker won't pick them up. Honestly, actually having an editor has made the world of difference. Yes, that's costing me money every month, but I realize that the more I put myself out there, and the more the more content I'm putting out there, is I have to have that. So my skill set weakness in that is that. My other thing is micromanaging. That's another thing I'm very bad at. How I'm working on that is I'm trying to empower everybody I work with and all my team members to take responsibility of whatever it is. And what I try and do is I go, you know what, do that. Now, if they screw up, I do not have the right to sort of berate them about that, because I've given them the responsibility. I make mistakes, they're going to make mistakes as well. So my micromanaging, I'm really working on. I'm really trying to let a lot of that stuff go. I think the hardest part of the micromanaging side was actually operational issues, where I end up getting involved in like the real nuts and bolts, which is a point of frustration for my team. So I'm really trying to do that. So I would say that spelling and grammar in terms of skill sets, I would say micromanaging. The other thing is being organized. I mean, seriously, these are probably the worst things to not be good at if you're an entrepreneur. I'm terribly disorganized. My head runs in a million different directions. I would like to say it's because I'm a creative thinker. I don't know if that's a reason, but I'm not very organized when it comes to putting things together. So how I've counteracted that, and I've tried courses. I've tried courses and it doesn't work for me. what I've actually done is I've started to use like a flow-based system. So I tend to write down now when I'm running in 20 different directions, I tend to write all those things down and start working backwards, because generally I come up with a solution before I come up with all of the elements to, to sort of fix something. So now I kind of run backwards on from the solution back to how I start, and that's how I do it. So those are I would say, my three biggest failings. I guess if you want probably a more honest opinion, ask my wife, I guess. Actually, you could ask my team. They probably know me just as well. But it's important to understand what your failings are. And I think that's it. I think just as owners, we tend to think that we're invincible, and and we're not. And I think it's important for us to realize what we're terrible at, and not just, and I've seen this a couple of times where people are very open about what they fail at, but they do literally nothing to fix it. I have one person I know that comes to mind. Micromanaging is a huge problem for them. They're actually the first to say it. It was one of the first things when we started talking about business, of what he said. Oh, I'm a terrible micromanager. I'm the world's worst. I get involved in everything, and literally does nothing about it. And as a result, his business has been static for years and years and years. It just doesn't grow because he can't. He's wasting his time at that micro level rather than dealing on the larger picture. So if you want to do a confession, if you want to say what your weaknesses are, but more importantly, what you're doing to fix them. I'm interested on that because, I have experience just in what my personal problems are, and I'm also, I guess, slightly biased. I probably have other problems that I'm not aware of yet. So if you've got ways that you fix certain things, I would love to know about it. So leave that in the comments below. Really interested to hear about that. But like I said, it was a great question, and that's why I had to just flip the camera on and make this. I was just like, Steve, what are you really bad at? Oh, okay. Probably that. I guess the other thing I am is I start focusing on too many things at the same time. Rather than focusing on one core problem. And you can probably see when I do videos, I'm looking elsewhere because something will happen. Like at the moment, a truck drove past. See what I'm doing? I'm not even focusing on the video anymore. So I guess focus is another thing. That I don't think I'm currently working on. So maybe I need to work on that. Any advice on that? Let me know. Let me know in the comments below. I look forward to reading it. Thanks.